this is just a hook 'em horn sign, which is untrue. So tell us the importance of what this sign means that they were flashing to everyone.
Well, of course, it does mean the Il Cornuto, or the Diabolica sign, the sign of the devil. You know, it goes back to the horns. When you went in the gate of ancient Babylon, on one side in mosaic was a huge bull, and they worshipped, the bull under many guises. And so the horns, Mithras, they always slayed a bull and bathed the initiate in blood. So the horns are really symbolic of the devil. Now, it's interesting, any of his advisors would have told Bush not to give that sign because internationally, everybody watching on TV in other countries, it caused a furor. They knew right away this is a deep satanic sign. Now, Jenna Bush, I think it's Jenna of the two daughters,
right.
She is a University of Texas graduate.
Right.
But the president is not, and neither is Laura, nor is Barbara Bush even. I have a picture of her giving the sign.
Yeah, they're all doing
it. And various other individuals, even people from other countries who aren't graduates of that university.
Yeah, it's funny. People say, well, that's just the Longhorn sign, but you're right. Prime Minister Berlusconi of Italy,
right.
He's giving the sign. Mayor Marion Barry, former mayor of Washington, D.C., he's given the sign.
That's weird.
Lance Armstrong, although he's a Texan, he didn't graduate from the University of Texas. I show him giving the sign. The champion bicyclist, whom I've always liked and admired. Yes. But the sign I don't too much admire. But by the way, I also show a woman named Manuela Ruda in the book giving the sign, and she and her husband were arrested for conducting a satanic ceremony in Germany in which they invited a man, killed him, stabbed him exactly 66 times. It was the 6th day of the month.
Wow.
And then they drank his blood, and then they lay in a coffin, an oak coffin, and had sex afterwards to celebrate the murder of this man. And it shows Manuela Ruda, this woman who's now under arrest and waiting trial, giving the sign of the devil.
Text.
So, there is a very, very dark side of this sign.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
The Priory of Sion, it boasts to be, the members boast to be directly descended from the line of Jesus, and it's said to be the secret society of all secret societies. What's with this Priory of Sion, the mystery of them?
One of the things, of course, is they believe that Jesus had a mystical body, and that his blood has a mystique to it. They believe, of course, as you said, that Jesus, these occultists of the Priory of Zion, that's supposedly headquartered in Europe, but obviously has a lot of American clout. And I show Hillary Clinton, actors, actresses, and many others, Bill Clinton, of course, and many politicians giving the sign of the spear. And the spear, the legend is that the Roman soldier named our centurion named Longinus stabbed Jesus with a spear, and then his blood ran out on the ground, and that made that spear holy. So they do this holy sign. They always hold it down, excuse my language, toward the genital area. Remember, all of these cults are sex cults, and thus they teach that Jesus practiced the lie that Jesus practiced polygamy and had many wives. You'll remember the terrible blasphemous movie, The Last Testament of Christ. Nicholas Kazantzakis, who wrote the novel, I believe was a member of the Priory of Zion. And then Scorsese, the Hollywood director, who just, I think, hated Christianity because he was a flunky from a Catholic Jesuit seminary, as I understand it. He had trained to be a priest, but he was too evil probably and left the potential priesthood and now became a Hollywood director. So were really promoting these lies about Jesus. Anything they can do to besmirch the character of Christ.
That's right. Now, speaking of that, you have a very famous depiction in your book. It was done by Eliphas Levi of Baphomet, this androgynous Baphomet. Who was Baphomet, to those who don't know, and how did he become this sort of prototype for the Luciferian principle?
Well, back around 500 years ago, there was a secret society in Europe called the Knights Templar.
Mm-hmm.
They were headquartered in France, and it was found by the King of France in an investigation that these people had worldwide influence, and they were their beliefs were very similar to the Priory of Sign, and it was found that they were worshiping a horrible idol that they called Baphomet. And this idol was a goat-headed god, and he had his arms in such a way that one pointed up and one pointed down, which would give an indication of the infamous motto of all occult societies, which is the boast by Satan, as above, so below.
Yeah.
Meaning, that he intends to be like the Most High. He will conquer heaven and reconcile heaven and hell and make it one. And by the way, that's also the reason for the 33rd degree logo of Freemasonry, the double-headed eagle, as well, the as above, so below. But that horrible idol that was worshipped, I believe that idol is worshipped by a number of occult secret societies even today. And the beard of Baphomet, he's a bearded goat, now with horns. That beard caught on, and you find many occultists with that pointed beard, like a triangle pointing down to hell. And even today, among satanic worshipers, it is very popular.
These Illuminati elites, they are really rebelling against God, aren't they? They think they are gods.
Yeah, that's what the devil did. He rebelled against God, and now he's going to have a fit punishment. And these men are joining in this rebellion. And, this is the thing about God. Many people say, how can a person be a Christian? The truth about it is, of course, you have to believe the essentials of the Christian faith and what Jesus did on the cross. But it's interesting that I'm convinced, Victor and Lisa, and maybe you'll agree with me on this, God will have no one with him in heaven who is disobedient, who is rebellious, who hates him.
Yeah.
And, in the Old Testament, there's a verse that I've always read with great contemplation. It says, it's God in Isaiah. He says, all those who hate me love death.
Well, let's hope that God thwarts their agenda again.
Yeah. Now, Tex, we only have a couple more minutes here. Give your website address once more, and I'm going to hold up this book again, Codex Magica.
This is an excellent book.
They can go on the website and they can read. We have several articles about Codex Magica, including many very, very unusual pictures of people doing handshakes, hand signs, some of the biggest names in the world.
Some of the most
That would be
likable
powerofprophecy.com. By the way, we also have a website just called codexmagica.com.
Okay.
Cool.
Codexmagica.com.
Yeah. Now, we can sit here literally for days and days and talk about everything in the book, and I wanted to get into the Founding Fathers, but we'll save that for next time. My last question is about Karl Marx. And some people know he was a Jewish radical, but also most people aren't aware that he also had very huge interests in Satanism. So how do you think this interest in Satanism affected his views on communism, which is the worst form of government there is?
Well, his being a Satanist, of course, remember that quote from the Bible, all those who hate me love death. In a poem that he wrote called Olamem, which, by the way, is when they turn something backwards, it's Emmanuel, spelled backwards. He says that his real goal is to annihilate, to destroy the whole universe. He would like it just to be destroyed in a huge blast. And so this guy takes anarchism to an extreme. But Marx was a Satanist. His maid, who worked for him for many years, talked about how he would put on the Jewish prophylactory on his head, and he had an altar with black candles and would utter in some kind of a Latin language words evidently to Satan. He actually worshipped at an altar of Satan. Now, in the book I show him, by the way, giving a Freemasonic hand sign that I call the hidden hand of the men of Jabulon. Because in the Royal Archmason degree, in the 13th degree also of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, they're told finally in that initiation ritual, the Mason, that the true God they worship is not the God of the Bible, but he's a God named Jabulon. And that's a combination God, a hideous combination of Jehovah, or Yahweh, and Baal, who's mentioned in the Bible as the devil, and On, who is also known as Osiris, the Egyptian sun god.
Many people will be very surprised to see how pervasive this symbolism is throughout the media and mainstream news sources.
And to all those Marxists out there, you just heard what your founder is all about. Well, Tex, thank you so much for coming on Wing TV today. Again, the book is Codex Magica.
Tex, you're fascinating.
It is. It really is. And
thank you so much.
And keep up the great work, okay?